Welcome to our channel. Today, we have got another bone-chilling scary story for you about a haunted village house of Scotland. Let's start the story. In the heart of the Scottish Highlands, nestled among the heather-clad hills and ancient forests, lay the village of Glenwood. It was a quaint settlement, rich with history and local folklore, where the past lingered like a morning mist. The village, though picturesque, held a dark secret that was spoken of only in hushed tones. The story of the haunted house of Glenwood. The house, known as Brackenmore Manor, stood on the outskirts of the village. Built in the early 1600s, it was a grand structure of stone and timber, with ivy creeping up its walls and turrets that reached for the sky. The manor had once been the pride of the McAllister clan, who had lived there for generations, but now, it was a place of fear and superstition, abandoned and left to decay. The tale of Brackenmore's haunting began in the late 17th century with the arrival of Elspeth McAllister, a woman of striking beauty and fierce intelligence. She was married to Laird Duncan McAllister, a stern and ambitious man who was deeply involved in the clan's affairs. Despite their union, the marriage was far from harmonious. Duncan's obsession with power and wealth often left Elspeth alone in the vast, echoing halls of Brackenmore. Elspeth found solace in the company of a local healer named Sorka, who taught her the ancient ways of herbal medicine and the secrets of the natural world. The villagers whispered that Sorka was a witch, but Elspeth paid no heed to their superstitions. She and Sorka became close friends, and Elspeth's knowledge of healing grew. One fateful night, a severe storm lashed the Highlands. Duncan had gone to settle a dispute with a rival clan, leaving Elspeth alone. As the wind howled and rain battered the manor, Elspeth felt a growing sense of unease. She wandered the dimly lit corridors, her footsteps echoing like ghostly whispers. In the great hall, she found an old, leather-bound book that she had never seen before. Its pages were filled with strange symbols and incantations. Drawn by a force she couldn't understand, Elspeth began to read aloud from the book. As she chanted the unfamiliar words, the air around her grew cold, and a thick fog seeped into the room. Shadows danced on the walls, and a chilling laughter echoed through the hall. Terrified, Elspeth tried to stop, but it was too late. The spirits had been awakened. That night, Duncan returned to find his wife in a state of shock, muttering incoherently about spirits and curses. The manor, once a place of warmth and family, had become a haven for restless souls. Strange occurrences began to plague Brackenmore. Doors slammed shut on their own. Ghostly figures were seen roaming the halls, and blood-curdling screams echoed through the night. The villagers, already suspicious of Elspeth's association with Sorka, turned against her. They accused her of witchcraft and blamed her for the haunting. Desperate to rid the village of the curse, they dragged Elspeth from the manor and executed her on the village green. Her final words were a curse upon Brackenmore and all who would dare to live there. For years, the manor stood empty, feared and shunned by all. The McAllister family line dwindled, and the village of Glenwood suffered from a series of misfortunes. Crops failed, livestock died mysteriously, and the village children were haunted by terrible nightmares. It seemed that Elspeth's curse had taken hold. In the early 1800s, a new family, the McRaes, moved into Brackenmore, determined to restore it to its former glory. Alexander McRae, his wife Isabel, and their young daughter Eileen were unaware of the manor's dark history. At first, things went well. Alexander was a skilled carpenter and worked tirelessly to repair the house, while Isabel tended to the overgrown gardens. However, it wasn't long before the hauntings began anew. Eileen, a bright and imaginative child, was the first to sense the presence of the spirits. She spoke of a lady in white who visited her at night, singing sad lullabies and warning her of danger. Isabel dismissed these stories as childish fantasies, but Alexander was not so sure. He had heard the whispers in the village and felt an unease that he couldn't shake. One night, while working late in his study, Alexander heard a series of loud bangs coming from the great hall. Grabbing a lantern, he hurried to investigate. The hall was empty, but the air was thick with the scent of lavender, a scent Isabel never used. As he turned to leave, he saw a figure at the top of the grand staircase. It was a woman, dressed in a flowing white gown, her hair loose around her shoulders. Her eyes were filled with sorrow and anger. "Leave this place," she whispered. "It is cursed." Alexander blinked, and the figure was gone. He told Isabel of the encounter, but she remained skeptical. Yet, as the days passed, the disturbances grew more frequent and more violent. Objects flew across rooms, mirrors shattered, and ghostly wails echoed through the manor. The final straw came when Eileen was found unconscious in the garden, her arms marked with strange, burn-like symbols. Fearing for their daughter's life, the McCraes fled Brackenmore, leaving it once again to the spirits. The manor fell into further disrepair, and the legend of its haunting grew. It was said that Elspeth's spirit, along with those of the other restless souls, roamed the halls, seeking revenge and peace. In the late 20th century, a team of paranormal investigators decided to explore Brackenmore. Drawn by its dark reputation, they set up their equipment in the manor, determined to capture evidence of the supernatural. What they experienced would become the stuff of legend. On their first night, the investigators recorded chilling EVP electronic voice phenomena of voices whispering, "Help us," and "Leave this place." Cold spots and sudden drops in temperature were felt throughout the manor, and their cameras captured fleeting glimpses of shadowy figures. The most terrifying event occurred in the Great Hall. As they conducted a seance, the room was filled with an overwhelming sense of dread. The air grew cold, and a powerful force knocked over their equipment. One of the investigators, a skeptic named Thomas, was thrown across the room, his back marked with the same burn-like symbols that had appeared on Eileen. Terrified, the team fled Brackenmore, vowing never to return. They released their findings to the public, and the legend of the haunted manor spread far and wide. The village of Glenwood, though still picturesque, was now a place of ghost tour and curious visitors, all eager to glimpse the spirits of Brackenmore. To this day, the manor stands as a silent sentinel, a monument to a time long past and a curse that refuses to die. The villagers, though they profit from the tourists, still speak of Elspeth McAllister in hushed tones, and warn their children not to wander too close to Brackenmore at night, for it is said that on stormy evenings, when the wind howls through the highlands and the fog creeps in from the moors, the spirits of Brackenmore walk once more, bound by a curse and longing for peace. And so, the haunted house of Glenwood remains a place where history and legend intertwine, and where the past is never truly gone. Thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed the story. For more scary stories, please hit the like and subscribe button. See you soon.